So this is my latest creation. My students are affectionately calling it Fred. I asked them for a name and that's what they came up with. So it was handcrafted by myself. I built it. My students welded it together, but I designed it and cut all the pieces of aluminum. And my students learned how to TIG weld. TIG welded the whole thing together. So starting at the top, we have an FPV camera connected to a transmitter at the back, 32 channel transmitter, and the 5 volts is supplying the camera connection. This camera is eventually going to be changed over to a GoPro, but the cable is coming and I don't have it yet. Pan and tilt off of the remote control radio. Comes around. This gooseneck I built. I wanted the camera up high so that you could see the front corners of the robot while you're driving. So I wanted the camera up high, but I didn't want to look military or industrial. So I built this aluminum tower, swan's neck, so that it doesn't look as industrial. The FPV system comes back to a pair of Fat Shark glasses or goggles, and I can use this to operate it. Lifting eyes is it's too heavy to lift, so I have block and tackle inside that helps lift it. Ignition switch on the back turns the whole thing on. A key. These tail lights are off of an airplane. They were left over in our aircraft department, so they gave them to me and I put them on. A trailer hitch. Someday we'll be pulling things around with it. The undercarriage is off of a snowblower. LED headlights at the front. So this is a PS3 controller here in the center, and it runs the tracks as well at a much reduced rate, so I can move the device around the workbench and put it in the back of the car. When you lift this up, here's all the controls for it. So there's the analog joystick. This switch at the front. This receiver needs to have the pulses shut off for the analog to work. So this switch shuts the receiver off and switches over to analog control. This terminal bank is all grounds. This terminal bank is 24 volt, 12 volt, and 5 volt. And this terminal bank is all the connections from the speed controller. So this cable goes up, and here's the 15 pins from the speed controller. This relay at the back turns the speed controller on and off. This relay over here turns the headlights on and off, hooked to the remote control. So flicking the switch on the remote control, I can turn the headlights on. Remote control receiver, and down underneath is the auxiliary antenna for it. This is a GPS chipset, not connected yet, but it soon will be. It's going to be connected to the Arduino, and it's going to keep track of where it is. Someday to make the machine autonomous. But for now, probably just to put it on the internet, so I can follow. We can follow this on a web page. Ground connections, the relay to turn the high power for the speed controller on and off. Fuses at 5 volts, 12 volts, 24 volts, and then a separate fuse for the speed controller. Down here we have the Arduino Uno. It's connected to my Wi-Fi inside the garage. Eventually, it's going to run the GPS and make it so I can control this thing from my computer over the Wi-Fi, probably at the school. So I could drive it either, so it'll take a Wi-Fi signal, convert it inside the Uno, send it to the speed controller as a serial signal, and operate it that way. Down underneath are the analog to analog inverters, 24 to 12 and 24 to 5. Here we have the electronic compass. Robotech MDC 2250 speed controller, 15 pin connection out of it, USB, I can upload it USB, very good speed controller. The whole thing is built on a panel that's rubber mounted, and this whole panel will come out to work on it. If I undo a couple of plugs back in the corner, undo the 2 power connections, the ground connection, this whole module will lift out and I can work on it on the bench. The whole thing is the panel's held down with these really cool ratcheting tie downs or clamp downs from an aircraft instrument panel. I thought they were very cool. So now when you close the lid, these will ratchet down panel down, which I thought are very cool. So this is it. This is Fred. More electronics to be put on it, but so far it's coming along very well.